Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we're going to have a look at Saturday's racing. I've got most of my selections tomorrow at Cheltenham. I've got a couple at Navan that I also like. So let's start off looking at Cheltenham. We're going chronological order, so we will keep jumping back to Navan and then back to Cheltenham. We'll start off with the 12:35 at Cheltenham, the JCB Triumph Hurdle Trial, which is normally a decent Triumph Hurdle Trial. And I kind of feel it's probably out the front two in the market here. East India Dock and My Noble Lord. Now, on the flat, East India Dock was the higher rated of the two. At the end of their flat career, if it is indeed the end, East India Dock was rated 90. My Noble Lord was rated 83. So there's not a lot between them. Over hurdles, both I thought gave very impressive performances at Wincanton and Chepstow. I'm siding with My Noble Lord here for a couple of reasons. The first one being, I kind of feel that East India Dock might actually want a bit further. Some of his form on the flat was good, including winning at Goodwood in the Royal Sussex Regiment Handicap over 2 miles. So to be running over 2 mile again at Cheltenham, I kind of feel that might be on the sharp side. Okay, he was able to win at Wincanton in juvenile hurdle, but maybe he was just that far clear. You know, the others may be very moderate juveniles. East India Dock did go off 1-2 that day, so they really thought that East India Dock would be winning that. My Noble Lord was kind of improving still. We never actually found the limit of My Noble Lord, whereas at least East India Dock did lose on his final start over hurdles, on the flat, sorry, suggesting maybe there wasn't a lot more to come, where My Noble Lord won at Hamilton over a mile and 5, won it relatively well. And his form was over a little bit shorter, a mile and 4, mile and 3 sort of form. And I kind of feel that that's the right transition. A mile and 4 to 2 mile hurdles I much prefer than 2 mile to 2 mile hurdles. I just think that My Noble Lord might have a bit too much speed for East India Dock. I thought they both ran really good races at Chepstow and Wincanton, as I said. But yeah, I'm just on the prices. It's a similar one to what we've got later on today. Granted, obviously, you could watch this and what I'm about to say has already gone wrong. Valgron Potter's Charm, I felt there was more to come from. I thought it was very, very close between the pair of them. But with the odds as it is, and let's just have a look, you can see that My Noble Lord is still available at 7-2. And I think My Noble Lord could be the one here over East India Dock. And I'm just happy to take on the favourite on the basis that I think they should both be the same price, really. So I feel there's a bit of value in My Noble Lord. The others I don't really think are going to be good enough. As good as Prairie Angel has looked in 2 starts, I think it's not been beating a lot over in Ireland. And these two here, East India Dock and My Noble Lord, I think we'll probably find that both of those do end up in the Triumph Hurdle at the end of the season at the Cheltenham Festival. Moving on to the 110 at Cheltenham. The horse that I'm going to go for here is Read to Return at 9-2. On the basis, the horse I'm worried about is Strictly a Dancer, because we had that last time in a similar race. I thought he ran okay. The reason I like Read to Return, this was the race last year that he was given the terrible ride that then got a massive... there was an investigation into it, wasn't there? The stewards called him in. I think the horse got banned. Maybe the trainer got a fine. Went off the 16-5 favourite and should have won. Off a mark of 115. Returns this year of 116. Has this been the plan since then? We got it wrong. We tried to win cosily, or we tried to do something. We got caught. Let's go and really rub salt in the wounds by winning next season at Cheltenham. In the race that he was disappointing. No, he was given a very disappointing ride. Yeah, I there's no negatives really about Reed to Return. He should have won it last year. He is off a £1 higher mark. He's got Finney and Maguire on board this time, a much better jockey. There's no excuses tomorrow, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm hoping that they're going to try and rub salt in the wounds here by winning the race that they got caught trying to be dodgy in. Tony Martin's horses have been going quite well. They've just had Young Lucy get beat at Cheltenham by half a length. If Young Lucy had jumped the last or got a clear run, I think Young Lucy would have won. So Tony Martin's not sending any old rubbish here, and I'm sure that Reed to Return is going to run a really big race tomorrow. Moving on to the 145. This one was a little bit bigger earlier on in the week. 6-5 you can just about get. L'Eau de Sud. I think L'Eau de Sud is a graded horse, and I think they believe he's been a graded horse for a little while. Even when running over hurdles, they ran him in the Greatwood, the Betfair Hurdle, the County Hurdle. He got beat by Absurd in the County. They really tried to pick up a feature handicap over hurdles with a very well handicapped horse. It didn't quite work. He's gone over fences. I think he's head and shoulders above the rest of these, and I think he will prove to be... I think he'll end up in the Arkle. Most of these others will end up in the Grand Annual or maybe even the Plate. Petit Tonnerre is definitely not one for me tomorrow. I really like that horse, but surely needs a handicap, and he's actually £21 wrong with L'Eau de Sud. You don't often find there's such a short price. 15-2 Petit Tonnerre for a horse that's £21 wrong in terms of their handicap mark compared to what they're having to race against each other here, because it's a grade 2. Yeah, L'Eau de Sud I think is probably I'd probably say is the good thing of the day. I think he'll win this really cosy, to be honest. I mean, even if we look at the likes of Look Away, for example. Look Away ended up in the Betfair Hurdle last year. Finished down the field in 16th off 137. L'Eau de Sud ran off 129, finished second. £8 there. Would the £8 have switched the positions? No. Look Away is just not as good as L'Eau de Sud, in my opinion. And yeah, with that in mind, I think L'Eau de Sud goes off odds on tomorrow for me. And yeah, wins this race. And starts to suggest that he could be interesting in the Arkle. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if he's the potentially the best British horse I know at the moment. Not that takes a lot of doing. We're going to have some Irish, chances in the Arkle for sure. But yeah, I think L'Eau de Sud could well turn up as one of the big guns for Great Britain. Moving on to the 158 at Navan. I really like this horse over 2.5 mile. I think he is one of the best horses we've had in a long time over 2.5 mile. And that is Bob Ollinger. I don't know what his form is now. I know we backed him a couple of times last year over 2.5 and he kept doing it good for us. Just having a look on my other screen. He got beat by a nose by Impere Pass. I actually think he should have been awarded that race. He won at Cheltenham in the Rail Kill over 2.5. He beat Zanna here at Navan in this race. In this race last year. He was second at Navan in this race 2 years ago. Behind Home by the Lee, but I think he'll reverse the form at this time against Home by the Lee. I really like Bob Ollinger over this trip. I think he is one of the best 2.5 mile hurdlers we've had in a long time. 6-4, 13-8. You can get 13-8. I know we can see the 7-4, but that's an outlier. 13-8, I think, is a good price about Bob Ollinger. I think he is the one to beat. The Bromhead's got his horses in form, and Dara O'Keefe is riding really well at the moment. I think he could well end up being the #1 jockey for Henry de Bromhead, and Rachel Blackmore may lose her spot. Yeah, Bob Ollinger for me. I think he's holding his form, whereas although Home by the Lee beat him at Navan a few years ago, He then went to Leopardstown, home by the Lee, then went to Leopardstown and won. But then since then hasn't particularly performed up to scratch, really. Keeps finding horses too good. And was only third in this race last year behind Zano here and Bob Ollinger. I think the form will be confirmed this year. So yeah, home by the Bob Ollinger is my selection here at 13-8. Back to Cheltenham we go for the 220, the Paddy Power Gold Cup. There are two in this race that I like that have been left in. Il Ridoto and Ginny's Destiny. I've spoken about these many a time already. Ginny's Destiny comes into the race on a very similar campaign to Stage Star last year. Comes here off 155, the exact same handicap mark. I think takes all of the beating. Ginny's Destiny, they should have this ready. And he is... Paul Nicholls has got his horses bang in form now. Il Ridoto is the second one that I like. I think his form at Cheltenham is very good. Comes here off, actually runs off 141, not the 138 that he's meant to run off because Protectorate keeps him out of the handicap slightly. Freddie Gingell taking the 3 off does mean he effectively runs off that 138 though. And that was the last mark he won off, was 138 when winning the Paddy Power Cheltenham Countdown Podcast Handicap Chase in January of 2023. Beat Fugitive that day. I think he confirms that form. I think he will run a really nice race again. I think it's all about the Nicholls horses here. Let's have a little look at the prices. Ginny's Destiny, 3-1. Il Ridoto, 7-1. I think you're going to get two good runs for your money there, the pair of them. I think Garlaw's slightly too high in the handicap. Imagine I can't quite work out. I think Protectorate, giving away all that weight, is going to find something really well handicapped against him. In Excelsis Dio has won his race. Fugitive needs to drop a few pounds and isn't as well handicapped as the likes of Il Ridoto on their previous runnings against each other. Janadil might be too old. Madara, if you haven't read my email, read my email about Madara and where I think they're targeting Madara. And yeah, I don't think any of the others are going to be good enough. So they are my two for tomorrow in the Paddy Power Gold Cup. It's Ginny's Destiny and Il Ridoto. Going back to Ireland, back to Navan for the 233. Let's have a look at the prices. So the prices are always relevant because if we looked at this race and Banbridge, for example, was 9-1, you'd probably go, well, actually, maybe Banbridge is the right bet in the race. It's not always the horse you think is the best, most likely to win, because if you get it slightly wrong, but you've got a much better price about another horse, sometimes that's actually the bet, and that is the way to go long term. But in this instance, it's not. Banbridge is the right price. Captain Guinness, I feel, is the right price. Founder 50, I think, is actually a little bit too big at 9-4. Getting weight off a couple of them. I'm going to get a few pounds from Banbridge and Captain Guinness. Both of those kind of have their marks. We kind of know where they are. And Banbridge, I think, wants further. Whereas Founder 50, I think, can continue improving this season. I really liked his form last year. I thought he ran some really nice races over fences in novice company. Second, I Am Maximus over 2.5. They then dropped him back to 2 mile, and then he was starting to get beat by the real quality Grade 1 horses. Ilete Tom, Gaelic Warrior were the only two to beat him at Leopardstown and Cheltenham. Then went to Aintree and won, and has since come out at Down Royal in a Grade 2 and won as well, giving away a lot of weight to Pinkerton. Now, Pinkerton's a decent horse in his own right, and Founder 50 was able to comfortably beat him, giving away that weight. Second season over fences. I think he can really kick on this season. I think he's going to be challenging for that champion chase at the end of the season. Whereas Banbridge needs further. Captain Guinness and Gentleman Demay can win graded races, but not when they face what I believe is like a Grade 1 horse. This is a Grade 1 horse in Founder 50, and I think he's going to take all of the beating tomorrow. Back to Cheltenham. for the 3 mile handicap hurdle, and I will give away a little bit about our ratings here because I think this is really key here. The horse I like here is Thanks for the Help, and I'm just going to show you why. Look at these R figures here. These two R figures, R6 and R5, means 6 runs ago and 5 runs ago, this horse ran some really high R figures. Now, why does that catch my eye? Well, when he ran that 160.2, he was winning at Chepstow off a mark of 117 when sent off 9-2. He's now rated 118, so just a pound higher. And he's currently available at, if we just load up the market, bearing in mind, we've got to remember he went off 9-2. He's currently available at, whoops, wrong race. We'll come back to that one. Please don't block, we haven't, cool. Currently available at, you can just about get 8-1 about Thanks for the Help. I really like him. I think he is going to run a huge race tomorrow. Since winning that, he then actually went this 154.2, which is probably good enough to win as well, bar that performance there from Captain Morgs. That would make him go really close as well. That was at Cheltenham as well, which is very key. He went to Cheltenham. He went for the Pertemps final. He went off the 100-30 favourite of a mark of 128, so an effective £10 higher mark than what he's running off tomorrow. And he was there all the way until the last, when he just faded late on, maybe didn't quite get home, or something didn't quite go right. Since then, he won a nothing race at Southall, a novice hurdle, and then it's kind of gone a bit wrong. He disappointed when 11-2 in May of 2023, but then he's had 2 runs since then. He went to Chepstow off the back of 287 days off the track, disappointed, and then returned at Uttoxeter in another handicap hurdle over 2 mile 4 recently in October, disappointed. Because of those, though, he's dropped significantly in the handicap, and there was clearly something wrong, and this is the first time they've got him 2 consecutive runs since 2023. After, as I said, he disappointed at Haydock on good ground. I don't think it was the ground that beat him. I just think he was disappointing that day. He didn't run for 287 days, went to Chepstow, probably needed the run. Didn't run for 237 days, went to Uttoxeter, probably needed the run. Can't use that excuse tomorrow. He doesn't need the run. He's had the run. It was fine. He was well beaten, but the handicapper dropped him another £4, and that's £9 drop in just 2 runs. He could be absolutely thrown in tomorrow. He could turn up here, and he's already getting backed. He's currently available. I've said 8s. He's 8.5 has just become available, but we're going to stay 8 because that's the outlier. I think he could end up going off second favourite behind Doyen Quest. I really do. If suddenly everybody latches on, he could even go off a shorter price than that. I really like Thanks for the Help tomorrow for David Pipe and Jack Tudor. And finally, the last race we're going to look at tomorrow is the 3:30 at Cheltenham. We're going for another Tony Martin horse in Hamsian. Now you can see he's relatively lightly raced, to be fair to this horse. He's only had the 11 starts in total. And recently his form was okay. So in 2023, December 2023, he went to a grade 3, got well beaten off at 100-1, before then going to Leopardstown for a 3-year-old maiden hurdle when he was sent off 150-1. They were purely runs to get handicap marks. That's all they were after. Then he went to Ludlow, stayed in a maiden hurdle, went a 5-1 next time, much better, and then dropped into handicap company, finished 3rd in a good race behind Royal Way and Palio. Now, he didn't get the clearest of runs that day. He was sent off the 3-1 favourite on a mark of 109. Didn't get the clearest of runs. Got squeezed out. I think he would have won if he'd got a clear run. Well, if he would have won, he would be significantly higher rated already. Currently available at 7-2. He went off 3-1 for a similar handicap off a £2 lower mark and should have won. He's the one that you want to be on, in my opinion. He then went to Chester at the beginning of back in May, He finished second to Alphonse Lagarde and in front of Law of the Sea. Now, Law of the Sea is a Chester specialist, and Alphonse Lagarde was winning it off 73. That horse has since won a Northumberland Vase off 81 and a Cesarewitch off 87. He's now rated 93. He was £20 lower when beating Hamsiyan at Chester. Now, I'm not saying that Hamsiyan is significantly, better than that on the flat. I actually do. I think I was waiting for Hamsiyan to come out on the flat. I thought wherever it goes next, I'm really interested. Has a rating of 91 on the flat because of that. It's only rated 111 over hurdles. That's nowhere near enough in my opinion. And I think Hamsiyan could, he could comfortably win tomorrow, to be honest. And another winner for Tony Martin at Cheltenham. So they are my selections tomorrow. A very quick recap. My Noble Lord, I think he might even go off favourite. I think his form over that sort of trip is better, and over this sort of trip will suit him more than East India Dock, and I really liked his performance. I think he's improving. Reed to return back for this race that he was given a terrible ride in last year. That would really rub salt in the wounds if they go and win. Loaded Sood would probably be my banker of the day. I think he's much better than all of these. He'll end up in the Arkle. The others will end up in the Grand Annual and the Plate. Bob Ollinger over 2.5. I think this horse is one of the best 2.5 mile hurdlers we've had in a long time. Il Redoto and Ginny's Destiny both have strong claims for Paul Nicholls. He's running them both. I think he had 1st and 4th last year. Maybe even 1st and 3rd. Wouldn't surprise me if they did something similar again this year. Founder 50, I think, is the grade 1 2-miler in this race. Gentleman de May and Captain Guinness are grade 2 2-milers. And Banbridge is a grade 1 2.5 mile horse. Thanks for the help. Could be incredibly well handicapped here. Back down to a mark. Back up in trip. Has had the fitness run now. I think he's going to run a really big race. And Hamsiyan, I don't think his handicap mark is right over hurdles. Should have won of 109 at Ascot if he'd got a clear run. His only run since then was a very good 2nd place in a Chester Vase that's worked out incredibly well.